YouTube, man, we're back at it again, man, with some creepy TikToks, man. TikToks that's gonna give you chills, that's gonna make you question reality, that's gonna make you question your place in the universe. All that's here, man, that you're gonna find on this channel, bro. Like I said, it's always up to you guys, like I said, to determine at the end of the video, these clips that we see, is it fake or is it reality, bro? So let's dive on in, man. Got a good one today. Horrifying true.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Okay. This is former NBA player Mark Jackson's basketball card. In the background are the Menendez brothers. They're sitting courtside shortly after killing their parents and just before getting arrested.
What?
The 17-year-old who took this photo told his family members that he planned to hike the stairway to heaven. He texted multiple pictures before his disappearance, and shortly after, the family noticed a man in this photo. While this photo may seem like an ordinary picture of footprints in the sand, they actually belong to a 4-year-old little girl who shortly after this photo was taken, drowned in the ocean. What? The two brothers in this photo are at Sequoia National Park. Okay. This photo was taken moments before they were both struck by lightning, and both shockingly survived.
They survived, but you can tell because their hair is like freaking, oh, that's insane, bro.
There was a tradition in Victorian England to take photos of dead people, often dressed in their best clothes, and pose as if they were taking a family portrait.
What?
If you look at this photo for long enough, you'll notice something is a little off about one of the children. The man who took this photo of his wife scuba diving off the Australian coast also managed to take a photo of Tina Watson, who was drowned by her husband that day in 2003.
What?
Most terrifying urban legends from around the world. Once there were 3 teenagers who broke into an abandoned amusement park in Canada. 2 of them went inside first while the 3rd waited outside. But after a while, the 2 who went inside first still hadn't come out. So the one left waiting decided to go inside as well to find his friends. That's when he found one of his missing friend's phones lying on the ground. And in the camera roll, he saw something terrifying. What? On his friend's phone, he saw a photo of a strange door with a huge mouth inside. That turned out to be the urban legend of the Smile Room. A giant creature that manifests itself as a fake room with a door to lure its victims in. It can move to different locations and disguise itself as a normal looking door. So once you walk in, it'll devour you.
Damn.
So remember, the next time you see a door in an unusual place, don't go near it. And follow for more stories.
Breaking news, an entire family, including their pets, have been found deceased and the suspect is still at large. This crime takes place in Romeoville, Chicago. Concerned family members called authorities when the victims did not report to work at 6 a.m. on Sunday. Additionally, they did not reply to any messages. When authorities arrived at the home around 8:40 a.m. to do the welfare check, they found the mother, father, and 2 children deceased. In addition, they said the family's dogs were also found deceased inside of the home. Authorities said they believe the crime occurred between 9 p.m. on Saturday and 5 a.m. on Sunday. At a press conference on Monday, authorities said they do not believe that this is part of a
murder-suicide. So somebody planned this out. It's a hit on the whole family, bro. People crazy,
They said, quote, right now we are investigating this as a murder. Furthermore, they also said they do not believe the surrounding community is at risk. They said, quote, due to the time frame that has gone by, more than 18 hours from the time they were contacted, we are not asking anyone to shelter in place. We are not actively looking for anyone in the area. At this time, they have not provided any further details, but I'll keep you updated. What do you guys think? Drop in the comment.
Where's this guy? What the hell is that? Looks like something's up there, bro. The hell? Look at the whole sick. What the?
Behind me is Elliot Rodger. He's responsible for killing 6 and injuring over 20. Before committing his shooting spree, he recorded a video and said, "You all made me suffer all my life, now it's my turn. I've been waiting so long for this." He claimed that he couldn't make friends and he was lonely and everyone was rejecting him. However, after interviewing people that interacted with him, it seems like he was rejecting their friendliness. Apparently he was very nasty and very stuck up to these people that tried to befriend him. And he came from a very wealthy background. His father was a filmmaker and worked on the Hunger Games.
Really?
Growing up, he was diagnosed with a few mental disorders and was prescribed medication for it, but he never ended up taking any of the medications.
Damn, bro.
At parties, it was stated whenever Elliot tried to hit on girls, they would reject him and then he would get mad and try to push them off of buildings.
What?
It's reported he tried to push somebody off of a 10-foot ledge, but ended up getting pushed by other men instead. And I'm not sure what would compel you to push somebody off of a 10-foot building.
Who the hell wants to push somebody off a freaking 10-foot building? They don't even go to jail or something like that. What the hell? They need to be arrested, bro. What the
He frequented a lot of online communities with misogyny and anti-feminism. So, because he was an incel, he decided to commit the shooting. He would end up taking his own life after completing his mission. And this all happened in 2014 around May. Let me know what you guys think about Elliot Rodger in the comment section below and what you want.
Insane,
I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing.
32-year-old Chad Dorant honestly committed what might be one of the most heinous crimes of 2023. I cannot stress this enough. This is a disturbing case. Hi, my name is Ethan, and here's everything you need to know in under 1 minute. On Thursday, June 15th of this year, police received a 911 call from a woman claiming her babies had been shot. A few minutes later, a witness driving on the road saw a girl running, claiming that her father is unaliving everyone. When police arrived, they saw Chad's 3 sons who had been shot by their father in the grass, deceased, and a woman with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound in her hand. Currently, the motive for lining up his 3 sons and unaliving them is unknown. Going into full detail about this case would honestly be very sick of me, and the only reason why I'm talking about it is because it's so recent, and I feel that Chad deserves nothing but life in prison.
That's crazy, bro. He did it to your own son and your freaking baby, man. You're a damn demon, bro.
On August 31st, 2022, the Davis family were under a lot of stress after their 16-year-old son, Gabriel Davis, was nowhere to be found. They immediately alerted police, and for 36 brutal hours, he went missing until he was found with no shoes or shirt on, and foot injuries indicating he was walking barefoot in the woods. When police asked him what happened, he claimed that he was too afraid to speak because the, quote, people might hurt him. The same day, police were called to Daniel McCaw's home after he didn't show up to work. Upon entering the dim-lit home, they were greeted with the smell of death. There lay the unalived body of Daniel. Police later put together that Daniel was Gabriel's mother's ex-boyfriend. When they obtained his surveillance footage, they saw Gabriel and his friend 16-year-old Justin Yoon entering Daniel's home. They brutally unalived him. I can now say that because as of literally a week ago, Justin and Gabriel both pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and are now awaiting sentencing.
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory.
That's insane, bro. People are crazy,
This
man.
photograph was taken by Rodney Alcantara, the dating game murderer. No one knows who this woman is, not even Rodney. He killed over 130 women and claims that this one was just lost among the shuffle. While this appears to be an ordinary group of people eating ice cream and playing music, it is actually a group of officers at the concentration camp Auschwitz during the Holocaust. This is Sheila Frederick, a flight attendant. She noticed that a terrified girl was accompanied by an older man, so she left a note in the bathroom on which the victim wrote that she needed help. She contacted the police, who saved her from a human trafficker. The Soviet Union actually used to airbrush people out of photos when they fell out of favor with the leadership. While this photo may appear to be of a little girl holding her younger sibling, it is actually of Lena Medina, the youngest girl to ever give birth, who had her son in Peru in 1939, after she was sexually assaulted at the age of 5.
What the hell? That's disgusting, bro.
Molly, based in California, was sentenced to 14 years behind bars for flying to Texas to torture a human trafficking victim and try to force her into sex work. In November 2022, Ian Justin Rand,
people like that, they're just some damn monsters, bro.
He was 35 years old, responded to an online ad posted by a supposed human trafficker who worked with high-end clientele. They were looking for an experienced sadist who would be paid $6,000 to take a woman to an abandoned warehouse and, quote, break her. Now, this seemingly horrible person was actually a federal agent, not a human trafficker. This was a sting operation. He obviously didn't know this, so he accepted the gig. And what he planned to do to this woman is just horrific. He wanted to tie her up and waterboard her for days and torture her by covering her body in chemicals. He wanted her to wear blackout, sensory deprivation, eye contacts, and he wanted to film it. It's reported that he was going to try to leave her undamaged, with the worst case scenario being a broken bone.
But you're trying to
He told agents he specialized in degradation and objectification and had, quote, psychologically destroyed a few girls. When he was arrested outside of a warehouse in North Texas, he had tools on him. Restraints, ropes, batons, and this was not an isolated incident. Prior to his arrest, Randy was actually living with a husband and wife in a throuple where he would sleep with and torture the woman. A source told DailyMail.com that he tormented this woman to the point that she was so traumatized she couldn't even openly discuss this relationship. In February of this year, Randy pled guilty to attempted kidnapping as well as possession of child pornography because on top of all of that, he was found with images of minors.
64-year-old Andreas Probst and 14-month-old Knowledge Schuster, both remembered at 2 separate events Thursday night, both victims of recent hit-and-run crashes in the Las Vegas Valley. Probst, a former police chief, was about 3 miles from his family home riding his mountain bike in the bike lane last month when he was hit by a 17-year-old boy from behind. Police said the vehicle was stolen and already fleeing from another crash when it hit Probst.
It was stolen too?
About 100 family and friends gathered Thursday night at Tenaya Way and Centennial Parkway, remembering Probst's life and legacy. Knowledge Schuster, another victim of a hit-and-run crash, was killed in North Las Vegas Tuesday. Nevada Highway Patrol has not yet made an arrest in connection with that crash. Knowledge's father saying they want whoever was in that vehicle to come forward. For the Las Vegas Review-Journal, I'm James Schaefer.
The case of Bashid McLeroy and his mom, Tanya Bird. On February 26th of 2013, there was garbage bags with human remains scattered around the Bronx, New York. Garbage bags were discovered by a man who was walking his dog around 4 a.m. in the morning because his dog smelled the garbage bags and stuff, so he called the cops, and they don't know who it is exactly just yet.
Who the dead person is?
Yeah, who the dead person is.
Okay,
and then
so
the next day, the son, Bashid, he reports his mom missing. And he says that, he wasn't able to get in contact with her for the past 24 hours.
Okay, that's
this unusual behavior. She's always taking care of his younger sibling because his younger sibling has, disabilities. And then the cops find out who the remains are, which was his mom. They go tell him, the sad news.
So it's connected?
When they go to the house, they smell, a ton of bleach. Alarms were ringing and stuff like that. They ended up getting a warrant. They searched the whole house. They searched his phone.
That said the son did it, bro.
What they find in his phone is this.
Yo, that's only a picture of his mom, bro. Bro, I saw that picture, bro.
It's a really, really, infamous picture. Literally him holding his beheaded mom in a selfie. Obviously, you see him all, like, happy and stuff.
What?
It's like when they arrest him. They ask him, what did he do it? What was the motive?
The reason,
He confesses, and he's like, when he was a kid, like a baby, his mom...
the tub device and
That's
guys,
insane, bro. How do you have a whole freaking picture, bro? I'm proud of that.
This is dark. Being that I talk about street crime, I figured why not talk about some of the punishments that used to be in practice. This was a medieval torture device, and basically it was only for citizens who broke the law. They basically would fill the tub with water and then place the individual inside where only their head would stick out. They would then paint the individual's face with milk and honey, and that doesn't sound too bad. However, after a couple hours, they would be covered in bugs.
What the
After
hell?
just a few days in the tub, the person would be like a Golden Corral buffet for insects. The person would usually last about a week in the tub. However, I did see a post recently where people were arguing to bring this method back.
What?
Let me know what you guys think.
That's a
Behind me is Elliot Rodger. He's responsible for killing 6 and injuring over 20. Before committing his shooting spree, he recorded a video and said, "You all made me suffer all my life, now it's my turn. I've been waiting so long for this." He claimed that he couldn't make friends and he was lonely and everyone was rejecting him. However, after interviewing people that interacted with him, it seems like he was rejecting their friendliness. Apparently he was very nasty and very stuck up to these people that tried to befriend him. And he came from a very wealthy background. His father was a filmmaker and worked on the Hunger Games. Growing up, he was...
You heard it early, but... to follow him, he came from money, so...
was diagnosed with a few mental disorders and was prescribed medication for it, but he never ended up taking any of the medications. At parties, it was stated whenever Elliot tried to hit on girls, they would reject him and then he would get mad and try to push them off of buildings. It's reported he tried to push somebody off of a 10-foot ledge, but ended up getting pushed by other men instead. And I'm not sure what would compel you to push somebody off of a 10-foot building. He frequented a lot of online communities with misogyny and anti-feminism. So, because he was an incel, he decided to commit the shooting. He would end up taking his own life after completing his mission. And this all happened in 2014 around May. Let me know what you guys think about Elliot Rodger in the comment section below. And
the chimney here that's pictured behind me is the site of one of the strangest mysteries in the true crime world. This was the location of where 18-year-old Joshua Maddox was found. To give a bit of backstory about what makes this so strange is that Joshua went missing, and his family never understood why. But this was in 2008. And the body was not discovered until 2015. The person who owned this abandoned cabin was going to demolish it when they knocked down the chimney, and that is where they found the body. crammed inside, upside down in fetal position.
And they never smelled anything enough
of Joshua Maddox. By the way, if you're looking for a longer episode on this, we're probably going to cover it on Creep Time. You can always go listen to using the link that's right in my bio. What's so odd about the Joshua Maddox case is that the investigators ruled that this was some kind of an accident, that he had crawled down the chimney to break into this cabin for an unknown reason. There were several things with that story that didn't add up. One is to focus back on this chimney, because the chimney had a grate on top of it, which would have made it impossible for someone of Joshua's size to get inside the chimney. Right? Even stranger than that, Joshua was found inside the chimney wearing only his t-shirt. The rest of his clothing had been removed and was at the bottom of the fireplace. Something about that story just does not add up.
It doesn't.
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Ronaldo Dogsa, a politician in the Philippines, took a picture of his family right before he was assassinated on New Year's Day in 2011.
What the heck?
The man in the back shot him twice while his family was forced to watch. The man holding the puppy is Yukio Araki, a kamikaze pilot who just one day later would crash into the USS Brian, killing 66 of the crew members and taking his own life. Damn. Yukio was only 17 years old, knowing completely well that he'd be going to his death the next day. The smiling man in this photo is Nazi Joseph Goebbels, who is in a 1933 League of Nations meeting, and in the next photo, his expression completely changes. His expression changes from cheerful to hatred because someone told him that the photographer was of Jewish descent. This seemingly normal photo shows three men in
he hated that too, bro.
judo attire.
That's insane, bro.
The man on the right, however, is Osama bin Laden, the terrorist responsible for the 9/11 attacks on New York City.
What the hell?
The girl wearing the veil is Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped for 9 months by the man on the far right.
Really?
This photo was taken at a party the kidnapper crashed with Elizabeth, and she was forced to wear this veil at all times to keep her from being recognized in public.
Oh, man. Photos always tell a story, bro. It's crazy, man. What the hell? What the? Are they shooting
Remember the
something,
Colorado
bro?
police officer that let a handcuffed woman get hit by a train? Yeah, she's facing 0 jail time.
What?
The officers who were charged
0?
for this incident were Jordan Stanky and Pablo Vasquez, who hasn't gone to trial yet. So this happened back in September of last year.
There's no way, but they got
In
0 jail
Colorado,
time.
The officers got a report about a road rage incident involving a gun. Officer Vasquez pulls over the 20-year-old woman and parks on the railroad tracks. Officer Stanky parks behind him and is the first one to bring out a gun and take the woman into custody. Stanky then puts this handcuffed woman into the patrol vehicle parked on the tracks.
Why the hell would you park on a track?
Searching the woman's car for weapons. And that's when suddenly the handcuffed woman sees and hears a train coming. She starts screaming for the officers to help her because obviously she can't get out herself.
What the hell?
But they don't hear her. In the full dash cam and body cam footage, you can clearly hear the sound of the train's horn for at least a full 15 seconds before the officers react. And their reaction was to just freak out, do a little shuffle, and leave this woman to get hit by the train. The woman suffered a broken arm, broken ribs, a fractured sternum, a back injury, and a traumatic brain injury.
What the hell?
Both officers were criminally charged, and Jordan Stanky had a bench trial in July of this year. The judge acquitted her of the most...
How they acquitted her? They were like, bro, obviously you could hear the train like that loud ass horn, bro.
Serious charge, which was attempted criminally negligent homicide. Found her guilty of reckless endangerment and assault. At trial, she claimed she didn't know Officer Vasquez's car was parked on the tracks at all.
That is cap.
She simply just put the woman in custody in the closest vehicle. The judge was going to give Jordan Stanky jail time, but he changed his mind during sentencing this past Friday because both sides never asked for jail time. Prosecution was also asking for probation. She was ultimately sentenced to 30 months of supervised probation and 100 hours of community service. The victim in this situation is still in the process of suing the department for failing to keep her safe.
This true crime case from Northern Ireland is heartbreaking.
Insane, bro.
21-year-old Chloe Mitchell was from Ballymena. She vanished on the 2nd of June 2023. She'd been out that evening and was spotted on CCTV heading towards James Street in the early hours of the morning. She was reported missing, and understandably her family were absolutely beside themselves.
That is good, bro.
On the 9th of June, police confirmed that they'd launched a criminal investigation.
So she was a missing person, bro.
Then 2 days later came the news that the family were absolutely dreading. Human remains had been discovered at a nearby flat in James Street. They were then formally identified as Chloe's.
Some monsters, bro.
Police revealed that
bro.
she did suffer a violent death, but they have not yet released to the public how she died.
Okay,
Her
what the
family,
hell?
though, have been made aware. 26-year-old Brandon Rainey was arrested on suspicion of her murder.
Alright.
His defense applied for him to be held in a secure mental health unit due to the fact that he's a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic.
Oh,
he is
what the
known
hell?
to have been an inpatient at the facility before. Chloe's family is understandably heartbroken.
So he's been there before. He's been a pit. That's all, bro. When you go out, always gotta watch your surroundings.
Have all come together to grieve the
sickening and disturbing cases I ever covered, and it will make any true crime fan's stomach turn.
Okay.
This is the case of Jennifer Daugherty. This case took place in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, which is a relatively small area. Jennifer was 30 years old and was extremely kind and sweet. She loved to dance and she trusted everyone she ever encountered.
Okay.
This is because she had some mental disabilities, and this disability even affected her keeping up with her peers in school.
Okay.
And she always got bullied and teased, but she always chose kindness over anything else.
She was a nice person.
She then started going to this community center when she finally thought she met her friends. And these supposed friends were Angela, Peggy, Amber, Melvin, Ricky, and Robert.
Damn, what did they do?
And you will soon find out why they weren't her friends. These 6 people all lived together, and Angela was 17, who was pregnant with Ricky's baby, who was 23 years old.
What?
Amber was 20, who was pregnant with Melvin Knight's baby. Peggy was 27, and Robert was 36. Now remember, Jennifer was 30 years old, but due to the mental disability she had the mental capabilities of a 12 to 14-year-old person.
Oh.
The 6 of them and Jennifer hung out for a while, but soon after, Angela became extremely jealous of Jennifer.
Really?
This is because her boyfriend Ricky would always flirt with Jennifer when they all hung out. So Angela and Amber came up with this whole screwed up plan.
Oh, man.
On February 10th, 2010, Jennifer was invited to a sleepover with her friends. And before she left a note for her mom that said, "Have a great day at work, and I love you very much."
Okay.
Right when Jennifer stepped into the apartment house, she was subjected to 36 hours of extreme hell. The group went through her purse and stole money, gift cards, and her cell phone. They poured liquids into her bag, hit her head with filled soda bottles, cut her hair, painted her face with nail polish, and dumped liquids and spices on her head. They then took turns violently hitting Jennifer with a metal towel rack and crutches. Jennifer was also stripped naked, gagged, and then raped by Melvin. They even forced her to drink cooking oil, nail polish, detergent, different medications, and even urine. And keep in mind, this whole time, Jennifer completely trusted them, because she thought that they were all her friends. But they were literally dehumanizing her. They then continued pouring all of these things and spices on her head, and Jennifer was crying that her eyes hurt and she couldn't see. But they didn't listen and continued pouring.
This is insane,
And after they decided they tortured her enough, they took her life. They then tied her up in Christmas lights and forced her to write a fake suicide note, essentially saying that everything that happened to her was self-inflicted. The first line reads, "I have not been feeling happy for a while now, and I also feel everybody will be better."
Imagine doing this and making somebody write that note, bro. Knowing you did that, bro.
Better off without me. Which is just sad because that wasn't the case. Jennifer was extremely loved. Once the note was written, they got a knife and stabbed Jennifer to death. And once they knew she was dead, they tied her up in Christmas lights again, stuffed her body inside a garbage can, and dumped it in the parking lot of a middle school, where her body would be discovered by a truck driver the next day on February 11th. Even though Angela orchestrated the whole thing, she avoided the death penalty because she was 17 and a minor. But she ended up getting life without parole. Melvin got the death sentence. Ricky was also given the death penalty, and Peggy, Amber, and Robert were given 30 to 72 years in prison. This case is just so sickening and disturbing, and it stuck with me after I read it. And I feel extremely bad for Jennifer and her family. I wish nothing but the worst for those 6 people who did this to Jennifer.
So everybody knows about hot spring, and how most of the pools are 150 degrees Fahrenheit, and some even reaching up to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. But did you hear about the tragic horror stories of people actually going in them and being?
Who actually go into them, bro?
Well, today I'm going to tell you about 3 of those tragic stories, and they didn't end so well. So there was a dude named Colin Scott, right? He was 23 and just graduated college in 2016 and decided after graduation he was going to travel to his sister and then they would take a trip to Yellowstone National Park. Once they arrived, all hell broke loose. So Colin and his sister started walking along the boardwalk, which was supposed to stay, but decided to go off the boardwalk and up a mountain. The plan was to find a hot spring cool enough to swim in. Mind you,
how could you even tell?
Signs saying to stay on the boardwalk. Do not go on the grounds. There is hot steam and hot water.
They're just gonna scold you.
So they find a hot spring, right? They're like, I think this is the one. Colin's like, yo, I'm about to go fill the hot spring, see if it's too hot. While reaching down to feel the temperature of the water, Colin slips. Colin, how do you do the most generic movie thing in the world? Mind you, his sister is filming everything. She frantically tried to grab him, but the water was over 212 degrees, guys.
That's boiling.
He was done as soon as he landed in that pool. She tried to call, but her phone wasn't having service. But eventually she got through. Rescuers came, and they could not do anything. They couldn't even go in and retrieve Colin's body. And eventually it had fully dissolved. All that was left was like his boots. This is why you should listen to signs when they warn you not to do something. The next one is a little bit more sad and maybe a little bit more understandable. David Kerwin. Now David and his friend Ronald Rotliff went out to enjoy a beautiful day at Yellowstone. But they had also brought their dog, but responsibly left him in the car. After stopping to look at one of the springs, Colin's dog escaped the car. They should have left it locked. I don't know if it got through the window.
How did the dog get out?
But they should have left it locked, and they should have had the door cracked a bit. The dog then ran towards them, became so excited, and jumped in the pool that they were looking at.
What?
The water was 202 degrees.
Damn, the dog was gone.
The dog was suffering. And David could no longer watch his dog suffer, so he starts taking off his clothes and getting ready to jump in. A bystander that was watching them said, no, don't go in there. David goes, like hell I won't, and jumps in the pool. Just freezes. He tries his best to grab his dog. But let me remind you, that water is boiling hot.
202?
It was a wasted effort. And David's body was so badly burned that he was blind. And most of his skin was falling off his bone. A park visitor tried to comfort David when he got out of the pool. And when they tried to take off his shoe, the boot was melted to David. So when they were pulling off the shoe, his foot was also coming off with the boot. David was rushed to the hospital, but sadly succumbed to his injuries. Now, this one's a huge mystery, but y'all let me know in the comments what you think happened. Because I suspect foul play. Don Cressy. In 1975, a few friends who were employees at the Yellowstone Spring decided they were going to sneak out one night and go into one of the hot springs. At a little party, you know, they knew the springs well. They knew which springs to jump into, which springs not to jump into, which ones were okay to swim in. So they invite Don, right? And Don's like, okay, I'm going to come. I'm coming through. I'll see you guys tonight. He was a 21-year-old chef who's worked there as well for about 3 summers. So he knew the place like the back.
So he's been there for a while.
Don didn't end up making it to that party that night. Don was found by a child who was at the Yellowstone Springs floating in one of the hottest pools there. When the child got his parents and the parents called for help, police suspected that it was just an accident. But his co-workers suspect foul play. Because one, Don didn't drive his car there. So somebody had to have drove Don to the Yellowstone Park. Also, the pool Don was in was so far away from the party's location. Why was he even that far?
Exactly.
Police came up with the conclusion that Don had accidentally jumped into the wrong pool while looking for the party. Don had worked there for 3 summers.
So he knows, bro.
In the wrong pool. He knew the
somebody set him up. That don't sound right. Man, like I said, YouTube, man, we learned a lot from these clips today, bro. Like I said, I told you, man, these clips, man, they're gonna give y'all some chills, bro. Like I said, YouTube, man, in order to grow the community, bro, I need you guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel, man. Like I said, I want to bring bangers to you guys, man. So I really appreciate the support, bro. Like I said, we love to analyze these TikToks, man. You guys gonna catch you in the next ones. I'm out. Peace, you dude.